Hey, it's Camo for another Nashville Access Facebook Live, and we are outside on Music Row, and it's just such a beautiful day here in Nashville. You know how you're just sitting around and all of a sudden somebody just pops in, and that didn't happen. I actually got a call and said, we'd like you to talk to this guy. So we said, okay. His name is Buddy Brown. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, Camo. Thanks for having me.
It's so cool to have you here because you have created a bit of a sensation for an indie artist.
It's been a wild 2 weeks for sure.
Your single is called I Call BS on that.
Yeah.
Debut single, right?
Debut, yeah.
And it got up to
the the album debuted at #1 on iTunes, and so it's just it's been, like I said, eight EPs now. Been grinding for 7 years. It wasn't overnight by any means, but all of a sudden, just kind of like a light switch goes off, and here we are. So.
It's so cool because this is really almost unheard of for indie artists. There are very few people that debut that high on a chart, any chart, and you pulled it off. But you used a lot of your social media to get the momentum behind it.
Right.
Tell us how that kind of worked.
Back in 2009, I basically did a YouTube video on, it was a cover of a song, and they just did this cover where I didn't even check it for 2 or 3 months, and I signed back on, and there was hundreds of thousands of views. 2 months later, I'm thinking, what the heck, something's wrong with this, and really, I just kept on putting out videos as the years kind of went by, and more and more of my own music and EPs, and so we'd have a little bit of luck in charting like in the top 40 the first time, and with no label or anything like that going on, and then got up to like 28, and then 16, then 12, and my goal for this one was maybe if it could just hit in the top 10, that'd be awesome. And we wake up last Friday morning, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and Hurricane Matthew's coming through down in Florida, and we're holding on to power by that much, and here it is, #1, and so my wife and I just had a good cry over it, and just were blown away. But it's just one of those things that you really don't anticipate, and when it happens, it doesn't feel real, but it's pretty amazing.
And you're not, another angle to this is not only the fact that you're an independent artist, you haven't had any big name co-writers on this.
No, I write them all. I write them all. Yeah, it's. I kind of like to be able to remove the middleman, where the way I've established everything is so grassroots that I feel like I'm talking to y'all. You want to hear, what's going on in my head, and not like a cover of a song. So I really strive to write everything I do, and just make it to where it's just campfire talk. There's no committee these songs are going through. We're whatever is in my head, and if I pass around my friends and they're pumped about it and I'm pumped about it, then it goes out that way. We don't second guess it or anything like that. And so that's kind of been just the steps we take in getting the music out.
Is it really just kind of taking your breath away that is this really happening?
Yeah, it really is.
Because here you are now in Nashville, and with chart numbers like that, you've arrived.
It's definitely opened some doors. I tell everybody I still flew coach on Southwest getting up here, so there's room for improvement. But it's definitely been a work in progress, and to kind of the journey really is the most exciting part, because I think if you have too much success too early, you just go crazy. And I wasn't ready for it, but now with just
you've worked
years
for it, and now it's here.
Butt off, and it's just the first step really. Now it's kind of the doors open, and things are happening that have never happened before, and Orlando Magic want to take me on, and down in my hometown, and use my music this year, and you're just thinking like, how is some of this stuff happening?
So have any of the big names reached out to you yet and said, hey, we got some songs for you?
Well, that's kind of what this week is about. So that's why I'm up here and trying to connect all those dots, and we'll kind of see how it all plays out.
Now, you talk about your earlier stuff. Did that really build your audience and get people interested in you? Because you've opened for some pretty big names.
Yeah. I mean, played at Talladega twice. Once with Chris Young, once with Chase Rice, and 20,000 people out there, and you really get to like, you start looking at the audience and trying to figure out who you are, and get to watching these guys. Last year I was on tour with Justin Moore.
Nice.
I mean, we both have the same kind of attitude with.
I was going to say that because with Justin, you guys are kind of along the same lines. You're both, avid hunters and outdoorsmen. Politically, you align quite a bit. The way you see the world is really much the same as you.
I think so. It's nice to be on tour with somebody that when you look out at their fans, it's kind of the same message that I'm trying to send, and it's not. If it's intentional too much, then people see that you're trying to force it. But I think that we just kind of fell into that, and it all just kind of worked out. So, like, here I am, and deal with it.
Let's talk about I Call BS on that.
Yeah.
What about the song? Where did that come from?
Campfire. There you go. I mean, a lot of people write songs a mile away in office buildings.
Yeah.
And I've never done it that way. We write songs with a bunch of my buddies around. It's a big deal for us to go camping 4 or 5 times a year, and when we do, honestly, I'll get my friends around in a circle and we just kind of try out songs, and I can tell instantly if they're like, yeah, that's kind of a good song, or if they come out of their chairs and they're throwing beer 30 feet up in the air because they're so excited. And that was one of those songs that they acted like that towards. And I thought, if I feel it inside, then somebody else. If I don't feel it, then it's no point writing it. But
it's great too because it's kind of a common expression, so it's automatically in people's heads because they've said that phrase before or heard it before.
Yeah, it's. I definitely wanted a title where you see the title sitting on the page, you almost have to go listen to it. That's what gets me more excited about titles, as well. You can kind of put it out there then.
Who are some of the guys that you grew up listening to that have kind of put you in the place you're at now?
Biggest one I'd say is Charlie Daniels. He used to write some Southern folklore songs that.
Legend of Woolly Swamp.
Thank you, thank you.
That's
a lot of people don't know that song. It wasn't a single, but it's a scary as heck song, and it's about a ghost in the swamp, and like who writes that kind of stuff? But it's also not stereotypical country music. It's a lot of Southern rock, and people were calling him, "You're more rock than country," back in that. But he was just Charlie, and so that's all I'm trying to be is just Buddy. You don't think about what genre of country you're trying to fit in, or a lot of people are traditional, a lot of people are more modern, and you just try to write whatever comes out. And
you got to be true to your own voice, and I think that, when you talk about Charlie Daniels, he's always done the same thing. It's just that the music has kind of come along to follow it.
Right.
And he's, he's in the Hall of Fame now, man.
Yeah, and my two heroes, Charlie and Randy Travis, got inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame the same day.
That's cool.
Same day. Those were, if you ask me, my Randy, Charlie. That's, my mama was just straight Randy Travis, forever and ever, amen. And Charlie Daniels was kind of more my dad's, speed. But.
And those are two guys that really did it their way. Randy came off the back of the whole urban cowboy thing. The last time they were predicting the death of country music.
Yeah.
And did his own thing, and everybody kind of followed that, just like Charlie's always done his own thing, and everybody's followed. Yeah. And Charlie's 80 years old, and he's still doing over 100 dates a year.
Yeah. And none of them are in Florida, by the way, Charlie. Come on down. Come on down. I would look every time I can.
Yeah.
But.
So now you're in the same town where those guys are. Is that kind of inspiring? Is that even more of putting the nail in the whole thing, saying, this is the way I'm building my career?
It does. It makes you feel like you belong in where you want to be. This is where it happens, and it's such a special feeling to get to walk down the same roads, get to talk with the same people. Like you kind of and all your friends back home, you're living their dream. This is just not something normal people do at all. It's just weird, and so just to get to kind of take it all in is just a pretty incredible experience.
Let's talk about home. That's Florida, Orlando.
It is.
How, it's easy to say if you're from West Texas how much of an influence that has on the style of music you write. And if you're from the mountains of Tennessee, that imprints a certain style. you don't automatically think of Orlando, Florida as a place that's going to set a big imprint on country music.
Right.
How did that kind of come about for you?
Well, I was born and raised in Southwest Mississippi, like kind of close to Louisiana, and we came down basically after Hurricane Katrina, and we've been in Orlando for 10 years, and so I don't think I'm very representative of Orlando by any means, and we're kind of outside a little bit, but it's I love the swamps down there and the wild nature of it. Kind of that John Anderson stuff, that Seminole Wind.
Seminole Wind, great album, great.
Yeah, it makes you kind of want to write your own brand of what country music is to you, and so I've done that with Hurricane Stomp and Mason Jar and songs like that in the past.
Yeah, and now that you mention that, there's John Anderson, the Bellamy's came out of Florida, so it's not and Skinner, came from
Darn right.
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
that's all right.
It's all right.
You get mentioned in those kind of names.
We're deep south geographically, but not,
Yeah, Trace Adkins says Florida is a state in the south, but it's not a southern state.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta go north to go south.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I overshot it a little bit.
Man, I'm really happy for the way your career's going so far. We wish next time we talk, you can sing for us.
You got it.
All right.
You got it.
You're dealing with a bit of a throat right now.
Yeah. I was in the, I took my son airboating for his birthday for 2 straight days down in South Florida, right before I came up here.
Yeah.
I think I'm allergic to alligators or something. It's been messed up ever since I got here.
How's your family kind of responding to this?
They're just quietly freaking out. My wife is, just kind of shaking her head, and my 2 boys think this is what's supposed to happen, and they don't understand yet. They're so little, but my parents and family, they've been my biggest support group all the way through. So.
Oh, that's great.
Grandma's 80 years old in the Mississippi Delta in a nursing home, just screaming, for her grandson. So it's definitely been a joint effort. Couldn't have done it without him, not in a million years.
Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. I know you got a lot going on while you're in town. Next time you're going to sing for us, keep us in the loop so we know what's going on with you, and we can keep track. And thank you again.
You bet, Kama.
It's called I Call BS on That. Buddy Brown. Get it on iTunes or wherever you buy your music. It's a really good record, trust me.
Thanks so much. All right, man.
See you later.